So this morning we open our annual stewardship campaign. And in this context, stewardship is a fancy word for financial support. The church loves fancy words. And the work of this congregation, as many of you know, is made possible because of the generous support of its friends and members. In the United Church of Christ, churches are autonomous and independent, which means not only do we make our own decisions, but we also pay our own expenses. So in June, there will be a congregational meeting where every member has a vote, and we will vote on the budget for the upcoming 2022-2023 fiscal year. Our fiscal year confuses everybody, but it runs July 1st to June 30th. And about 70% of the income reflected in the draft budget is attributed to promise giving or pledges. It's attributed to the information that we take in during the stewardship campaign. And at the end of May, when we've finalized this appeal for next year's giving, the trustees will review and adjust the budget to ensure that it accurately reflects the income that has been pledged. Now you might ask, why do I need to tell First Parish what I'm going to give? Shouldn't you just be thankful for what you receive? We are thankful. But the trustees take great care in looking after our money and making sure that it is used responsibly to do God's work in the world. And because of the trustees' responsibility, they want to make sure that we enter into the year with a plan that is solvent, with a good guess at what our expenses will be and what our income will be so that we can cover what we've planned for. So letting us know your intended giving allows us to plan for projects and actions that need lead time. Believe it or not, some of the stuff we do here needs a little bit of lead time instead of just reacting to funding as it comes in. And then, of course, there's the uncertainty of the world. Some of you will say, I'm not comfortable giving a pledge promise when my resources might change, and we certainly understand that and want you to know if your resources change and you need to make an adjustment to the pledge after the fact, that's okay. Life is complicated. The world right now is more complicated maybe than any of us ever imagined, and we can't plan or anticipate everything. But we ask that you pledge based on what works for you in the present moment, and trust that we all hold each other in grace and compassion should something change. So I'm going to read to you the letter that you should have received in the mail. You might have already read it, but I think these are the kind of things, the more we hear it, the more we remember it, the more we take it to heart. And this was written by our stewardship committee, which is led by our staff member, Katie Casper, and also staffed by Seth Weber, Meg O'Neill, and Binks Colby George. So this is their letter. When you feel safe, centered, and connected, life can be full of wonder. Take a moment to think where in your life you feel connected, centered, and able to be yourself. During a recent sermon, Kate spoke about the difference between hope and wonder. She illuminated how hope is full of expectation, while wonder opens up the freedom of possibilities. In a world that feels increasingly unpredictable, I hope there is a place in your life for wonder, a place where you feel safe, centered, and connected to those around you. And while it is true that uncertainty abounds, there are many things that feel sure. Despite the challenges of the last 2 years, an unprecedented pandemic, an unexpected change in church leadership, and continued unrest around the globe, First Parish Yarmouth has been a beacon of light and love for our parishioners and our community. We've found ways to worship and pray together. We've found ways to be in community with one another through our weekly rhythms of Bible study, both online and off, virtual and in-person choir, women's, men's, and grandfathers groups, and of course, gathering together for Sunday worship. We've been blessed to continue celebrating annual rituals like kicking off the fall with the Rally Sunday and gathering on Christmas Eve to celebrate Christ's birth. As we walked in the dark wood alongside one another during the Lenten season and gathered in person on Easter Sunday, we celebrated all the light and hope there is in the world. And now we journey forward, letting love guide our way. First Parish is our touchstone. It's where we feel connected in our humanity, where we feel safe to pray, share our sorrow, and express joy, and yes, where we feel free to wonder. As a church, we are at a crossroads, a time to pause and wonder about who we are and who God calls us to become. As you consider the role of First Parish in your life and in the journey ahead, we ask you to consider maintaining or increasing your financial support with gifts of your time, talent, and treasure, so that we can continue to flourish and unfold and become together. We gratefully acknowledge all of you who have not only fulfilled your pledge commitment for the current year, but have exceeded it. We appreciate efforts made by so many of you to regularly submit your pledges, even by weekly mail. And to those in our parish family who have resumed or increased their giving over the past year, we thank you. And we extend an invitation to those who have not given of their financial gifts or are able to increase their gifts to step forward in faith and in thanksgiving for our many blessings. You are all vital and needed as members of this parish family. The challenges of the last few years have demonstrated the strength and resilience of our faith community. With this faith, we have strengthened our bonds and cared for each other. May we continue to do so as we voyage ahead. If you have any questions about stewardship, you can be in touch with me, or if you would prefer to talk to Binks or Seth or Meg, you can be in touch with them. And if you need that information, you can be in touch with the church office. Let us be together in the spirit of prayer.